Hello, Lucky, and my name is Rox Titan, and today I'm going to be going through the VRML Season 1 Finals match between Kang and Team Joker. I'm joined today by Strembitsky from Kang
Hello.
and Kungg from Team Joker.
Hello.
And so let's just get into the clip without further ado. So first we see a punch out by Sealable. It gets to clear out to Kungg on the left tunnel. Joker kind of controlling the disc here, taking their time, playing kind of like Kang usually does. Uh, you can see Kang is still playing a pretty decent offense or defense. They're playing the bubble, they're pressuring. But Joker taking their time, definitely. Kang eventually starts getting kind of impatient, starts pushing out of the bubble. And Joker makes the passes forward. Pass long, pass across. And then actually gets a three-pointer off of that. And so, if we go back to the beginning of the clip, you see, usually Kang is a team that plays a lot more like this because, and Joker is usually a lot more of a faster team. So, Kung, you can kind of just like let me know what your guys' plan was going into this matchup because it's still pretty early in round one.
We were just trying to play calm so we could take control of the disc and not lose the disc quick because we knew that they could capitalize over mistakes, so we definitely didn't want that to happen. So we just played slow and tried to keep possession of the disc as much as we could.
You guys definitely did a good job of that. You can see at the beginning of the clip, Joker or Kang definitely was just playing really slow and calm, and they were staying inside the bubble. But eventually, they started pushing out, trying to pressure the passes, and eventually, you guys found an opening and were able to actually get the three there.
As soon as Jay passed, I'm pretty sure it was Jay that passed me the disc into the corner right here. He jumps out of the goal, and I saw it in the corner of my eye go a bit forward and push out, so I knew I just had to take that shot.
Yeah, and if you go back like 10 seconds, there's actually a right at the right when the pass to Kung happens, you can see kind of there's a dive out by Strem. And it looks like you guys tried to rotate Mad back into the goal, but you can tell me exactly what was happening in the comms there, Strem.
All right. So I can provide very good insight. So first, you said how we're playing slow and we got impatient, right? So we're definitely trying to stay like in the bubble and force like we're not trying to give up a defender. Here, Leverage is not he's not actually trying to get Dash. He's just baiting it so that Dash has to pass. And Leverage immediately goes back. And we still have four in the bubble. Like we're still not even drawn out here. I guess Sealable's kind of drawn out on Jaywalker, but that pass there, for whatever reason, I remember playing and I thought that jumping that pass was definitely a possibility. I thought I'd be able to get that. And as soon as I leave, I got mad in my ear saying, no, 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 don't leave goal. What are you doing? Because I never said I was leaving goal. This was, I think, a very bad mistake by me. Like I didn't calm what I was doing. And Mad still almost caught it. But obviously Kung sees that I'm not in goal and decides to shoot a three and Mad's not able to save it.
Right, that's interesting because I wasn't 100% sure when I took the clip if it was you guys trying to intentionally rotate Mad into goal because he's obviously a stronger goalie, or if that was just kind of an ambitious dive attempt.
So our team definitely does that where we try to rotate goalies always. We're not in the idea of that, like if one person's in goal and like say if Leverage is in goal and Mad's flying back, Mad's not going to always switch out Leverage. We're going to switch out like as we see fit, like as the game or the play progresses. But there I left goal and I just didn't calm it. I thought I was going to be able to intercept the pass and I was not even close. And then Mad tried to replace me just out of habit. And because I didn't calm it, it was just too slow and they got a three.
So if we jump into the second clip here, we got Matt and Strems kind of controlling the disc as Kang does. Passing the disc around, moving it up. And we can see Mad kind of moves into the goal. Does get punished for it. And then we see Strem retrieving the disc, passes it back over to Seal. Back up. Kang just controlling the disc as they do. Wasting time, burning time, forcing the defenders to come out. Eventually Seal gets the disc, passes it back over to Strem, who then gets the disc stopped.
So I don't know what obviously I don't know what Joker was thinking for this play, but for me, I think the mistake that Kangarillas made here was we're passing back and forth, we're moving up. Mad gets a 1v1, that's all fine. Kung gets a crazy save, clears it out, and we recover. So far, everything's perfect. I pass the Seal, who's covered. He passes back. I'm wide open, and I'm just waiting. I'm playing with the disc and just chilling. As soon as Kung gets near me, I pass it out because we drew a defender. And then the mistake that was made is that I moved up into the same lane as Leverage. So right here, I pass the seal, and then me and Leverage both start going to nest at the same time. Because I was already the back pass, I should have made the pass to seal and then waited and been safe. But instead, we both went to the same spot, and then I ended up getting punished for it, and the Joker got a clear out of it.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, that was definitely a more Kang centric clip there. But if you have anything to add, Kung, feel free.
Well, what happened when Seal got the disc there and tried passing to Strem? So when Strem passes to Seal here, and I pressured him, baited him a bit, and then he went forward, and as soon as Seal went, I saw Seal looking for that pass, so I pressured right towards Strem and went for the stun without even looking at the disc there.
The thing is, Kung, because you definitely pressured me. You looked at Seal, and then you immediately went to me. If I stayed back and you saw Seal looking that way, you might have not even noticed Leverage was there. Like, if that pass went to Leverage, I don't think you would have been ready for it. But
yeah, you guys stacked up a little bit there for sure. But if you go back to the beginning of the clip, I had something I wanted to point out and just kind of talk about a bit. It's just kind of when you guys moved up here, I think the pass goes to Matt here, and then Matt kind of got an open lane here. He drives it in towards the goal, and you can see. So I wanted to know Kung, because you did get that save eventually. But if you go back a few seconds there, you can see that I think it was Skinny was covering one of the King players on the floor right under goal, and so I wanted to know what you thought about taking the 1v1 as the goalie and not, because you can see once Mad gets the disc here, nobody actually covers him ever until he pressures the goal, and instead they're covering the player on the floor. So I want to know if you prefer to just like take the 1v1 and know that he's not going to be making any passes, and just so you can just like focus on the 1v1, or if you think it's better to pressure the disc carrier and try and force more passes and possibly more mistakes.
I think what Skinny did was good, because if they passed it low, it's a much harder save, because I have to turn around and like extremely quickly, and they're just gonna slap it in probably. When I have a 1v1 like that, I have time to think of where I'm gonna try to save it or where he's gonna shoot it at. So it definitely gives me a lot more time. And
just
I'm
to
more
add
focused,
on to that.
more focused onto the disc.
Just to add on to that, I can say that Mad has told my team specifically that he would prefer to take the 1v1, and he wants us to go for the passes.
It's interesting because a lot of times in mixed scrims or in just scrims matches and scrims with lower teams, you'll see that they try and pressure the disc as much as possible because they don't want him to be able to just take the march into the disc, because they treat passes as sort of a thing that you can make a mistake on, and so trying to force as many passes as possible will force the team to make more mistakes. So I still think it's true at a high level, but
but it comes down to like if the only option is a 1v1, then yeah, you want to push the disc. But if they have like 4 options, like I think the next clip you have is of Mad, and there's like 3 or 4 options that could happen, and Mad just focuses on the 1v1 because that's a much higher probability chance to save it. If it is a 1v1 and you're focusing on the 1v1 instead of the passes, I think it's a higher probability that you make that save.
And obviously you have to be a pretty decent goalie to be confident enough to just say, don't pressure the disc, I got the 1v1, just cover the passes.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is interesting to see how that changes, the dynamic changes at a high level. All right, so then we'll jump into the next clip unless anybody else has anything else to add.
That's good.
And in the next clip here, we see Kang has the disc possession. If you want to start the clip. Just kind of possessing on the floor, pushing forward. You can see Kang's playing very spread out. They're taking their players separately. They're forcing Joker to only have to cover one person at a time. Because they're playing on offense, this is an inherent advantage for the offense because the defense has to have a goalie. And so the way that Kang can control the disc, it's not possible for Joker to actually cover all the players. You can see there eventually Leverage just left open in the bubble and was able to get the goal. But yeah, you can see just the way that Kang plays. They spread out a lot. They force Joker to have to commit to one man. You can see, I think it's Sealable on the ramp there, just kind of drawing the one defender into the back on top of the goal. So he's got 2 players in goal, and then that leaves Leverage open on the post, and he can make the drive into goal.
Yeah, what happens here goes on with what we were saying in the last clip. Once Kangaroos get the disc control, and before they make that pass, we'll see right here, Skinny decides to go into the goal and not pressure the pass. And at that time, again, he should have probably, because I think it was Sealable down there, he didn't have much time as he did get stunned, or he got stunned. So he was forced to make a quick pass, and if Skinny were to stay on leverage there, I think it would have been a different result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of a catch-all situation for sure, because if he had left, if he had, like right here when he goes to the post, if he jumped toward leverage, then Sealable would have been, I think it's Sealable, or Strem would have been open on the backboard, and that would have definitely been also a potential option for Kang once they got the pass to the player down at the L block. He could have just had a different pass open. But Strem, you can
Mhm.
kind of give further insight into what exactly Kang's bubble play is.
So we're right now we're basically just trying to draw a defender. Kung comes and leaves, but because he actually stuns Mad, we don't want to be too quick because we have no advantage there. They all go 4 back into the bubble, and then we pass back to Mad, and then Kung immediately pushes Mad, and we've suddenly pulled the defender, and then we score immediately. Watching this clip before, I wasn't actually analyzing what Skinny was doing. But yeah, Skinny comes to leverage and then goes to goal, I think, to get sealed, then sees the disc and gets scared and tries to save it. And he basically is out of position for that whole like 10-second jaunt. You're right. If he did push leverage, Sealable stun the goalie, we probably would have scored a 3 if Skinny didn't go to goal. Right? Like Skinny,
Yeah.
it's an open goal. I punch goalie or whatever. Yeah, like it would have been wide open if Skinny wasn't there. So he wasn't in a terrible spot. But I mean, what can you really do when there's passes open and the goalie's stunned and they're all in the bubble with a man advantage, right?
Yeah, another thing that you guys did, and you mentioned it briefly earlier, was when you guys were controlling the disc and Mad did get punched, you kind of just stopped the disc, because Sealable had been punched like just prior to that as well. So just when you have a member down, instead of trying to keep forcing the pressure and forcing the offense, just kind of taking the extra second, especially when it's given to you like this, and just wait for your player to come back so you have the full strength up, because you can see the player in the backboard and Mad were both stunned there for a brief moment. So just taking the second on and taking that moment that Joker allowed you guys to have on the block there with leverage, just kind of to reset, get the stuns off, and then get back to position.
Yeah, like watching this clip, I always just thought it was like a textbook example of pulling a defender, but like analyzing each individual player, like how Kung pointed out what Skinny's doing, it turns into a different sort of thing because it's not exactly textbook. Like it kind of comes up with like a sort of a philosophical discussion of like what could Skinny have done better. Like he was clearly out of position a little bit, but really, what could he have done better? Because if he stayed on leverage, we were scoring anyways.
Yeah, well, that's why I think the offense is so strong, is because of the necessity of a goalie, so you don't give up a 3.
I think it just all started with pulling with we tried to pull Kung, we failed, then we tried to pull Kung again, and we succeeded. I think that's really what did it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we can go to the next clip now, unless anybody has anything else to add.
It's good.
If we go to the next clip here, we can see an offensive joust by Kangaroos. Mad trying to control the disc, taking his time. Sees an open player on the ceiling with him. Pass down in the tunnel. Kang can move through the tunnel there. And you can see Mad and Leverage getting a chain together, but then instead of chaining down for a pass, they both they attack the Joker chain, taking it apart. And it actually allows Strem to carry the disc all the way into the bubble from basically his side of the tunnel right here. I think it's important to note just how they left him open, and then how because Kang is a team that's so known for just making these extra passes in the bubble and making these extra plays, you can see that even though Joker's chain gets stunned out here by the by Mad and Leverage, they still have one more defender open, and if you watch the one more defender in the bubble there, he's kind of still just waiting for the pass. He never actually pressures the disc here. You can see he's kind of floats in the middle of the bubble with his arms wide, trying and read a pass, but the pass never comes because Strem just decides to take it in himself.
Yeah, so I think this goes on with what we were talking about, 1v1s, and rather a 1v1 than a pass. And right here, Strem faked the pass to his teammate, and I lunged for the pass, and it gave Dash a 1v1.
Yeah, like you're talking about right here, like you're on.
Yeah.
It's hard to see, but you're behind the nest on perch there, and I'm very close to you. Like you could steal the disc from me, but I fake it, and you jump into the middle.
It's a risky situation. It's a difficult situation there because it was like 3 defenders versus just me and Dash.
Yeah, it's definitely
like
tough.
I had to make a choice.
If you jump me, then I do pass, and he's got a 1v1. If you don't jump me, you maybe you get the pass. Like maybe you intercept it, and then the whole thing's avoided, right? Like you got to do something risky like that there.
Ultimately, do you think even reading the pass was a little bit? I don't know how the comms were like with telling where the Kangaroo players were, But I think kind of covering the shield pass is probably the worst of the two passes you could have covered because and then he
I
did come.
faked. It's because I faked the shield pass though.
Did you?
So if he did push me, I would have had to pass to. If he
Yeah.
did push me, I would have not faked and I would have passed to Mad because I think that's where I was faking to, not to Seal.
Yeah, we did talk about this in our comments. We were like we said like I knew I should have pushed it instead of going for the pass, but in the moment it's just
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of it.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest pog play of this whole thing though is how Mad grabs onto Skinny and punches him out so that I can just carry it in.
It was
for
a
free.
really good job from Matt and Loveridge, both getting the chain together and stopping the chain. So it gave you guys that extra time where you could just take the 3v2. And I think this at that point, once those two players were not only were they stunned, but they were stunned kind of far away from each other too. So even if they did both get understunned, they couldn't. Because a lot of times when people break up chains, they break them both up right at the same spot so that they can get back together. They have like that second or two of stun immunity or whatever it is, and they can just kind of get at least one player out there because they can just get a boost out and then split while they both have stun immunity, and then you can only leech one of them. But because you guys stunned them, you guys leeched the chain and then stunned them like separately, there was nothing they could really do except for just try and like boost up. And as long as you guys like don't like take way too long in the bubble, there's no way that either of those players is going to get back into the play in time. But if you guys have anything else to add,
No, I think we covered it.
all right, we can go back to the next clip then. So it happened to our fifth clip here. We see Joker has possession of this. They're pushing up into Kang's zone. Kang does get their boost together and get back into the they're maybe getting stunned out a little bit. You can see Mad actually makes a save there, 1v3. Joker does recover the disc though, moves back into the bubble. A good pass over, but gets stopped by Mad again, who stops it once again toward the ceiling. And this time I think Loveridge comes through, clears the disc unfortunately into unfortunate bounce there into pillar. Kind of a wide angle shot there, just gets dinged, and the disc does end up getting cleared back to be picked up by Joker. And something that I wanted to point out, especially in the first save that Mad makes here, is something that I do quite a bit myself. And that's why, if you pause it here, right before the save happens, you can see Ryan is just kind of right in Mad's face. So Mad can't see anything during this save. And I usually don't include plays in the videos where it's just one player playing extremely well. I try to do more macro stuff with team play and stuff. But I think this is just such an incredible play here by Mad, because he's got Ryan right in his face, so he can't see. He's got to hold his block up so he doesn't get punched, and so his hands are kind of in a weird position, especially when if you play the clip now, I think it's Jaywalker throws it low. Mad is still able to drop his hands down, get the disc, and throw it up right before he gets stunned, which is crazy. And then he does the same thing again. He's got to block up, drops his hands down low, gets the disc up. Unfortunately, clearing it kind of sloppily right into the players, but at that point, getting the save is more than enough in my opinion. Because it's hard when you're that pressured to make like the perfect clear of the disc once you get a save like this. But if you guys have anything to add?
Yeah, well, first of all, Jay shouldn't have taken that shot. He should have. I was cutting in, and I was wide open. If we see this right here, you'll see that I was cutting in. The pass should have went to me right here for an easy.
You
Then
even
he just-
stopped.
Yeah,
You
because he was
even
shooting that. I heard the
stopped.
comms were like he was shooting it.
Yeah.
And
Well, I don't
then
think the shot is
messed up.
inherently wrong. Obviously, the pass would have been a little bit better, but you guys were already down by 5 here. You still had a lot
The
of time to play with.
the pass is higher percentage.
That pass is higher percentage, but the
always.
shot was a 3, or was it not? No, it wasn't a 3.
No, it was not.
it
They were
was
trying to go
not.
for a
He
3,
could've-
but they
he-
did
dude,
not
he
even
coulda-
get it.
Jaywalker could have even like dunked.
If he would have stopped, if he would have stopped for a 3, I
Yeah.
think, because I think usually when you do what Ryan does there and you get in the goalie's face, you try and block him out a little bit and you just threaten the punch. I think at that point you should be probably going for a 3, but yeah, if he's inside the bubble like he was, going for the extra pass was definitely the better play.
Pretty
And
sure
you
the
can
comms
see-
were to try to get a 3. Yeah, I thought he actually shot a 3 until I watched this.
Yeah, I did as
But-
well actually, even when I clipped it. But yeah, I don't know, and I definitely you can see here, Matt doesn't just make one save, he makes a few, and this kind of goes into what I sometimes say about teams just kind of like getting frustrated that they're not able to get the disc in the goal, and so instead of going to the reset, you can see Ryan during that entire sequence is just kind of sitting on nest. But instead, they just kind of people are just getting the disc and then immediately trying to take the shot rapid fire.
Yeah, even on that open shot at the end here, Like after this save, it gets saved and cleared out. Then it comes back down. Another save hits the post. Even on this 3, there's 2 open Joker players on shield.
Yeah, it's definitely a trap that
And
obviously even top teams can fall into, is where
that's just a part of the chaos, right?
yeah. Well, it's just a thing that pretty much every team struggles with, is that if you miss one goal or you have like a close save like how Mad did, how a lot of teams just kind of get back into like, no, we need to score. And so instead of trying to make the smart play, like you can see right there, Ryan is just sitting on the shield. There's 2 players sitting on the shield here. And instead of just making the smart play, a lot of teams, including Joker, obviously, get sucked into the trap of just like they missed one goal, so they try to immediately redeem themselves and make that second goal. And
Yeah,
make
it's
that
like
third
trying to
goal.
play. It's like trying to play too fast with your own recovery.
Like you recover the disc, you have
and
the
you're
players
like, I'm
open,
a score now.
and Dash does make the good pass there back to Shield instead of trying to take it himself. But at this point, you can see Ryan is just standing alone on Nest. Then you have Jay and Ryan on Nest, and teams are just kind of taking shots, trying to force the disc in. When it's better to just kind of take a breather, take a pass back, and then like reset the play. Because you can see I didn't end up getting into the clip, but after Joker does recover it at the end of the clip there, they do end up making the drive back in and getting a 3. And it wasn't exactly a clean reset of the disc by any means, but it did happen. And because they were able to get the disc back to the far end of Kang's defensive area and kind of spread out and take a breather, they were able to eventually get the goal that they were looking for.
Yep, that was just pure chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. It was chaos that started with a really, really, really crazy save and then just slowly just devolved into more and more chaotic play. And like you said, it wasn't a clean reset when they got it back and scored a 3 later, but even if it's not a clean reset, a reset's all you need to slow it down and score.
And I think that goes to show how strong a reset can be, especially in a situation like this where you're just trying to you're just getting frustrated trying to force the disc in. Even if it's not like you actually making the deep breath decision where you take a deep breath, pass it back, and reset, it still just shows how strong a reset can be, because even though it wasn't really on Joker's terms, the reset still happened and it still resulted in a goal for them. And as we head into the last clip here, we see fresh off a Joker goal, we see Kang's offensive joust once again. This is a joust that they used a lot during these finals, and here we are in Game 5. The pass does end up getting intercepted, passed back over to re-intercepted by Mad. The shot gets stopped. He then controls the disc a bit. He's got leverage open on the bow tie, opposite go for instead of through pass to his teammate, which does end up making it. Long shot does end up just going just wide, and the disc is end up picking up by King again. But the main thing I wanted to highlight about this clip is just the joust and the way that King plays it. And I wanted to ask Strem specifically about this joust rollout, because you see on the mini map clearly, if you go back a few seconds right when it started, that at this point, Game 5, this joust had been used probably at least 40% of, maybe more, of Kang's offensive jousts. And it was a really slow play that you guys did a lot, where you'd pass it to either somebody on the ceiling in the same spot right above Pac-Man, or just to Pac-Man like there is there. But you can see on the map, Joker is pretty much covering them immediately, because they've gotten used to this joust after quite a while. And I just wanted to wonder if this was something that you guys were aware that the Joker was catching on, because as the series progressed from a spectator standpoint, this started off with a really strong joust strat, and it slowly, as Joker figured it out and started just countering it, it slowly just turned into a situation where it was, even if it did work like it does in this clip, it was really messy, and it looks like it wasn't really the joust working. It was just kind of, eventually they just got cleared.
Well, I can say right now, looking at the mini map, our joust is working because we are not being 4-man covered. We're being 3-man covered. So we are succeeding in what we're trying to do. We know that our joust rollouts are seen and analyzed by other teams, and we know that Joker was coming directly to our spots, but we aren't doing our joust rollouts to try and get 3 open passes right off the bat. We're not trying to pull the flare where we're just doing 1-2 and we're on their side of the field already. That's not our goal. So here we pass, Mads passes straight to leverage, which is what we normally do with this rollout. And leverage, even he has time to do whatever he wants. He can pass back to Mad, who would be wide open. He could pass to Seal, but Seal he's trying to fight his defender now. But anyways, it ends up back to Mad. I think the reason he or leverage passed to me is because I was fighting my defender. You can see on the mini map, 17's fighting 18 there, and I punch my defender, and I'm calling for the pass, and the pass was just a little bit too slow after the call, and he got intercepted. And to a degree, that's bad by me. I shouldn't be calling for that pass, especially where leverage is. Like, no matter what, I don't think he's going to be able to make that pass to me before the guy is unstunned. Either way, so that was just a mistake in that, but Mad recovers it. And then now we're still doing our normal thing. Like, leverage is open on bow tie, and he's calling for it. And then I'm calling, you can beat Jaywalker to Mad. Because if he gets it past Jaywalker, then I'm going to be even more open than leverage is.
You can see here, you're open right now.
Granted, listen. Granted,
right.
It's a usual thing because Joker for the entire season and preseason, Dash never pushed shit. He was always on bow tie. He was playing like blenders. He was always hiding at the back. But in championship finals, Dash started pushing everything. So I'm like, I'm open. As soon as I get the pass, Dash is in my face already. And I'm like, oh shit, because this is completely abnormal for Joker to do. And so that probably comes down to they conditioned us to think that we would have time upon getting onto their side. And so that's like, that comes down to strategy, whatever. But either way, Dash pushes me and he gives me the opportunity to get an open three. And for some of them throughout finals, for some of the 3-pointers where this exact scenario happened, I made the 3, but this one I did not make the 3, which was okay though, because Sealable still recovers it, and then we go slow it down and do our play on their end.
Right, and I want to go to Kung, and I want to hear your side of just because this was a common joust strat that King used, and I want to know what the Joker strategy was to try and beat this.
Well, we just man covered like we were doing almost the entire game, and we kind of cornered him here, and then they got the pass. But Dash has been pressuring that, and that shot is a risk that we were taking, and sometimes it did pay off for Kang. They got, I think, 2 half-court shots Strem got from those, but they worked for us, but we were unlucky and didn't get the recovery.
So is there anything like specific you guys switched up? Because I did notice like towards the end of the series, it started being a little bit lower percent. Like it started working out worse for Kang basically whenever they would do that joust. Like in the game 1, game 2, it would usually work out pretty well as long as they didn't make any major mistakes. And you guys,
just like to counter that, we've been doing this rollout since preseason, so I don't think it had like it. If Joker was conditioned to this play, they've been conditioned to this play for a long time. So to analyze like it worked in the first 2 rounds and then stopped working in the next 3, I don't think that holds much weight.
All right, that's fair. If either of you have anything else to add, this is the last clip, so we'll be done after this.
Joker sucks.
All right. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.